I think the White House would set a very bad precedent if they bowed to political pressure rather than to back this outstanding nominee for United States Attorney. And I've urged the President, as has Senator Hutchinson, to continue supporting her nomination in unequivocal terms. If he does, then he will have my support, as will Ms. Saldana. Well, clearly I've talked enough for one afternoon and perhaps made enough news for one day to, I'll stop there. And if it's appropriate, I'll be glad to answer a few questions. Thank you very much.
We do have time for some questions. Would anyone like to ask one? Dan?
Yeah. Senator Cornyn, two quick questions. Guantanamo, as well as possible prosecution of Bush administration officials, particularly those in Justice Department, racial matters that Obama administration is not taking. What's the status of both of those projects?
Well, you know, we've heard different things at different times. Different times the President said we need to look forward, not backward. And, of course, you can imagine what the threat of an investigation and prosecution has done to the lives of those people who thought that they were doing nothing more and nothing less than their duty to protect the American people and to operate within the constraints of what they understood the law to be. And it would be enormously destructive, I think, of our ability to do much else in Washington, D.C., to go back and to second-guess decisions that were made right after 9/11 at a time when we did not know whether there would be follow-on attacks in this country. And I think there has to be some closure, and the closure, I think, needs to come through a process that's not subject of intimidation, or that people aren't risk averse in terms of what they do when they are either interpreting what the law is or relying upon those legal judgments in doing renditions, enhanced interrogations, and the like. That the threat that they may come back and lose everything they've worked a lifetime to achieve because someone has trying to now second guess it after the fact. So I don't know what the Attorney General is going to do. He has said different things at different times. The latest thing I've heard him say publicly is that he intended to pursue an investigation of Bush administration, Department of Justice employees, and I think it's a very it's fraught with danger and something they ought to be very careful about. I just think it's a big mistake.
Is there anything the Judiciary Committee can do to an opposite minority? I would say, I would say the next move is theirs. I wouldn't say what we can and cannot do. I'm sure if they overreach and make what I consider to be a bad decision, there are things we might do, but I'm probably not going to talk about those in public right now.
I think we've got time for one more question. Anyone?
Yes, sir.
I think, if I'm right, Senator Sessions and Senator Leahy have traded comments about whether the ACLU or the Federal Society is a bigger platform.
Yeah, we had a conversation, I think it was yesterday, maybe the day before, about that, because one of the nominees was a federal magistrate judge in California that was confirmed. I think it's Judge Chin now, who was a longtime staff lawyer with the ACLU. And during the Bush administration, when many people who had long affiliations with the Federalist Society were nominated, it was as if this is a black stain on their otherwise impeccable reputation. So there was a little friendly jousting about whether the ACLU ought to be treated the same way. But in the end, I think we're going to look at the candidates individually and how not just the associations they've had, but how they've conducted themselves, and whether they embrace a notion of law as one that is something that is passed mainly by the elected representatives of the people, and something that judges interpret, not an opportunity to exploit for political or ideological gain. Thank you very much.
Again, let me thank you all for coming and remind you that if you sign up, we will get you CLE credit. We'll also make sure that you're on our distribution list so you know about all of our future events. I should also mention in that vein that next month, the Federal Society will be having its national convention in Washington. If your schedules allow between the November 12th and November 14th, please do come. We would love to see you there. With that said, again, thank you all for coming, and thank you, Senator, very much.